Learn English with simple stories. After listening, I'll explain new words and give you questions to check your understanding. So, let's begin. Listen carefully. Mother's love beyond the years. Once upon a time, there was a girl, Fantine. She lived alone in a small wooden house. The roof was broken and leaked when it rained. Her garden was small and quiet. Long ago, this house was full of colors. She and her mother were the town's most famous painters. They lived in colors and laughter. But as her mother passed away, joy was gone. Fantine stopped painting and lived on in silence and grief. One day, Fantine carried a small basket of vegetables to the market. Suddenly, she saw a hungry merchant. He was sitting on the side of the path, exhausted and cold. She hurriedly gave him her only baked potato. Taking the warm food, he smiled at Fantine. He took out a bronze clock with a rose design. "This clock can turn time backward," he said gently. "But only for a dear prize. Please use it carefully." Fantine gasped softly, but kept the clock, curious and thankful. Coming home, Fantine searched the dark room for her dear prize. Dust filled the air, and the wind cried outside. She opened old drawers, boxes, and broken shelves. At last, she found her mother's pearl comb shining faintly. Fantine turned the clock's handle with trembling hands. A golden light filled the house. 1, 2, 3. She opened her eyes again. The walls were new. The garden bloomed again. And there, her mother stood by the warm fire smiling. "Mom!" Fantine cried and ran to hug her. For one sweet moment, time forgot its pain. Then, the light faded. Fantine found herself alone in the cold room. The jade comb was gone from her hands. Tears fell softly on the floor. She understood the prize of magic was something precious. Yet she smiled, whispering, "It was worth it to see you again." The next day, Fantine looked around her poor house again. Her hands shook as she searched for something precious. Only one thing remained, a blue dress her mother had sewn. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "Please let me see her again," and turned the clock. A bright golden light filled the room at once. The house was alive again, full of warmth and color. She was back 2 years before, painting flowers with her mother. They laughed, sang softly, and brushed colors under the sun. Her mother asked about her life, her health, and her dream. "What do you wish for, my dear?" Fantine smiled. "I want to be a great artist like you one day." With that, Fantine's voice broke, and she came back to reality. She realized she had once lived with dreams and hope. Now her house stood emptier, her heart heavier. Still, she longed for more time in the past, time with Mom. Fantine searched every corner of her small house. Only one thing remained, a wooden chest with a book inside. She held it tightly. It was the diary of her mother. She opened the book with shaking hands. Inside the book were colorful paintings of her and her mother. They were laughing under the garden sun, holding brushes and dreams. Each page carried the scent of old paint and love. Between the pages, blue words glowed like the sky after rain. My dear Fantine, I hope you become who you have always wanted to. Never be afraid. Mama is always by your side. Tears fell onto the paper, leaving tiny dark spots. Fantine pressed the book to her chest, trembling. I see now, Mama, she whispered through her sobs. All this time, I was living against your wish. I kept chasing the past when you wanted me to move on. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were filled with light. All this time, you never left me. That afternoon, she walked to the town with quiet steps. She sold the clock and bought paints, brushes, and canvas. Under the warm sunset, she began a new life. Her heart beat with light, alive, and full of love. Years later, at a royal banquet filled with gold and light, people gathered around a grand painting the king admired most. It showed a mother holding her child under sunset sky. They were both smiling and living the happiest life. At the corner, the signature glowed, Fantine LUYện. The girl had finally lived as her mother dreamed. Let me explain some new words from the story. Wooden, wooden. Garden, garden. Painter, painter. Grief, grief. Merchant, merchant. Exhausted, exhausted. Potato, potato. Bronze, bronze. Clock, clock. Backward, backward. Precious, precious. Handle, handle. Golden, golden. Bloom, bloom. Hug, hug. Whisper, whisper. Dress, dress. Artist, artist. Reality, reality. Diary, diary. Lastly, let's answer the following questions. Question 1. Where did Fantine live after her mother passed away? Answer. She lived alone in a small wooden house with a garden. Question 2. What did the merchant give Fantine in return for food? Answer. He gave her a bronze clock with a rose design. Question 3. What was the price each time Fantine used the clock? Answer. She had to give up something precious she owned. Question 4. What did Fantine find inside her mother's diary? Answer: colorful paintings and words of love and encouragement. Question 5. What did Fantine do after reading her mother's message? Answer: she sold the clock and began painting again with hope. Today's story is very meaningful, right? Do you like listening to short stories? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment on what you would like to learn next. See you next time. Goodbye.